What's up, folks? So, growing up in this world, as you look around, it seems like everywhere and everyone has Prime Directive, and everywhere, everyone it has some form of suggestions as to what they think you should do with your life, or what they think you should do in specific situations, as if you yourself are just blind and you don't know, and you ought to follow them. And if what they tell you to do, the course of action they ask you or they suggested you take fail, all they do is look at you and say, oops. Now, I know you're thinking, many of us, just about all of us have been to one of those situations where it was a big oops after following someone's directive. So I'm here to tell you, you can stop saying oops or hearing oops from anyone, and you can start following your own directive. I know it's hard to believe, but intuition, it is something that all of us are blessed with. It is kind of like your internal GPS system. Now, the car factories, the car companies, they don't install GPS in all the cars unless it's some form of a premium package. But God is and does not work like your car company. God makes sure that intuition, which is your internal guidance system, is installed in everyone. Standard. But due to the lack of knowledge and lack of information and the constant terrible diet that most of us are feeding ourselves, our intuition is not something we can get in touch with. And a lot of us just have, I think I have to turn back this way because the rain is coming. Let me get my car. A lot of us has no real connection with our gut. So we don't know when our intuition is talking to us or speaking to us. It's giving us Prime Directive. And we fail all the time. But I'm here to tell you that your intuition knows best. Now, in certain situations, in certain circumstances, it will be best to listen to the advice of another person, perhaps older than you, that has been in that situation many times, and they may be able to advise you to your betterment. But more often than not, you will actually know what to do for yourself. In fact, before you actually even go to ask people for suggestions, more often than not, you already know what to do. My car is right here getting service. More often than not, you already know what to do. But then you go to people and they feel compelled to tell you something. Not because it's right, but because you are in their presence and they have to find a way to dismiss you. Sometimes they may not have bad intentions, granted. But you gotta know and remember that a lot of people have ulterior motives. So people may advise you not to your betterment, but to your detriment. Especially if you're asking them advice that's likely to put you in position that they're not in, a favorable position that they would not be benefiting from. It is unlikely that they would actually give you good advice. So that's why this is one of the reasons why I don't really ask people for advice, to be honest with you. I don't. I take people's suggestions and I view them as such, and I move on. I do what I want, and if it's wrong, then I learn from it. Then it's to listen to people and do what I think is right, and then only to turn around and says, I should have did exactly what I thought originally instead of listening to someone else. So many times that's happened to me. In fact, I'll give you a story. I think for the most part, all my life, I literally have been in touch with my intuition. As I get older, it has gotten so strong now to the point where I can put my clothes on to go somewhere and my intuition would tell me not to, and I would follow suit. No questions asked. I just take my clothes off and sit back in the house. Now, you have to get to a point of being in touch with your intuition, or what people would say your higher self, or what I like to call the angels. So to the point where you can be given prime directive directly, not while you're in trouble, but way before you get in trouble. Like several times, on several occasions, I had my intuition had told me to tell someone about a particular incident that may occur, and rightfully so, it did happen. It happens with my brothers when they were getting shot at. It happens with one of the the main snitch that snitches on my brother, when my intuition told me he was not someone we should hang out with. And I tried to cut him off, but sadly, my brothers didn't listen, and then he ended up being the one who sold him out to the police. You get my drift. And the one time that has made the most impact on my life, and I swear by that time that I would always follow my intuition from here on, was the time when I decided I was gonna go party, and it was my birthday. Instead of going party with my girlfriend at the time, I told her that I was gonna go party with the boys. She begged me to go party with her. I didn't want to go party with her, but I went party with the boys. But something just told me not to go party, period. But around that time, I was much younger. It's just very hard not to listen to what the boys were saying or doing. So it was easier to just tag along. So I did so. And crazy enough, my clothes got dirty 3 times before I go to the party. And I changed my clothes 3 times. And each of those times were just weird, oddly, just in just the most ridiculous way. My clothes got dirty and I would change it. So all this was actually sign that I should not be going out today. There are signs that I should not be going out today. But when you're young, you don't pay attention to these types of signs. You don't look at things as if it's a sign from the universe and maybe you should sit your ass somewhere. I went ahead anyway. But guess what happened? I didn't even drink that night. And right after I was leaving the party, which was another sign, I'm leaving the parking lot, and this guy, a friend of my brother, said, he just walked by me and said, drive safe. Around that time, no one has ever really told me that. And I was just leaving a parking lot. Why would he say drive safe, right? Anyways, but beside the point, I reached 4 blocks down. I got into a car crash. I crashed my car into a house, the corner of a house, and I took the stop sign. It was just crazy. Until now, I'm unable to explain exactly how this accident happened. I didn't even have insurance at the time. That was the time where driving with insurance was just not a thing. It was just not an option, because obviously I didn't have money. I barely had money to maintain the car. I barely had enough money to maintain the car, let alone insurance. No. Anyways, but those are things of the past, you know, much older now, and you do things differently with more sense. so the whole point of me going off and ranting off is to tell you that it's okay to follow your intuition. It's okay to make your intuition the prime director of your life. Now, some of us are very well not in touch with our intuition, but that's up to you. If you want to become in touch with your intuition, I'll give you a couple of things you can follow. Pay attention to things that happen in your life. Good, bad, ugly, dirty. Pay attention. What were you thinking before this thing happened? What was your initial thought? Did you think it should have gone that way or instead of this way, which result into which give you a result that is not favorable? Then you have to remember, the first thing you thought of was your intuition telling you which way to go. The second was the doubts. Okay, was the doubts that's in your mind, the clouded judgments that you have. And every time this happens, your intuition will grow and you will start trusting your intuition more. So you must start to pay attention a lot to things that happen to you. How were you thinking before? What were your initial thoughts? What did you initially want to do that you failed to do, and you take the second option, and the second option didn't lead you where you wanted to go, whereas the first one probably would. Maybe it wouldn't either, but doesn't matter. The first one is likely to be your intuition speaking. A lot of time it will look very strange, it will seem not right, but if you trust it, after a while, even what seems to be wrong or incorrect initially will actually turn out to be the right move. So, I hope this video has helped you to clean up your diet, and so you could become much more in tune and in touch with your intuition, because that's one of the main reasons why people are not in touch with their intuition is because their diet. You know, as science have confirmed, we do have a brain in our stomach, our gut. Whether number one brain or second brain, I don't know. That's for you to figure out. But clean up your diet and get in touch with your intuition. That way you can make your intuition, your higher self, your God, your angels, the prime directive of your life. And therefore you can ignore society's suggestions, because people are making so many suggestions to you nowadays. It leaves you confused. You will reach the middle point into you won't know whether to go left, right, and straight, simply because everyone has a suggestion. But what is your intuition telling you? Well, that is when you come in, or you in touch with your intuition, because it will speak to you. More often than not, it will speak to you way ahead of time. Now, if you are in clinch time, it still will tell you what to do, but you have to have the ability to listen and follow. Okay, it's funny enough, because we go to institutions, but we don't go to our intuition. So there you have it. Cheers.